Everything you thought you knew about attraction, it's been backwards all along. If you've ever felt exhausted from giving too much and getting nothing back, if you've been left on red, breadcrumbed, or overlooked despite your best efforts, this message is for you. But a warning, what you're about to hear won't comfort your ego, it will challenge it. In a world addicted to validation, where men are told to win love by being endlessly available and agreeable, it's no surprise so many feel invisible. You've been taught to chase, taught that attention is currency, and the more you give, the more you'll receive. But here's the bitter truth. Neediness repels what it seeks, and those who chase rarely get chosen. This video isn't about becoming colder, it's about becoming stronger. You're not here to play games or manipulate. You're here to reclaim your power, because when you stop chasing, you stop bleeding energy into people who never valued you to begin with. What I'm about to share will flip your mindset, not with shallow tricks, but with psychological depth and stoic mastery. You'll learn how detachment commands desire, how silence draws curiosity, and how self-control is the most magnetic trait a man can possess. So if you're ready to break free from the lies of modern dating culture and finally become the one they can't ignore, then stay with me. This isn't about pretending to be high value, it's about becoming it. Number 1, stop chasing her. Become the man she can't ignore. In a world full of noise, the one who withdraws becomes the loudest. When everyone else is running toward her, desperate to be noticed, the man who calmly steps back, not out of weakness but from self-possession, becomes unforgettable. The storm doesn't shake him. He is the mountain within it. This is not about playing games. It's about flipping the emotional dynamic by understanding a brutal truth. The more you chase, the less you are desired, and the more you build your life without begging for love, the more she feels drawn into your orbit. Why? Because attraction isn't built on logic or kindness, it's built on mystery, emotion, and scarcity. This is where Stoicism becomes your guide. Marcus Aurelius taught us to own our inner world, not the reactions of others. When you detach from needing her to validate you, you radiate an energy that makes her curious. Why isn't he texting first? Why doesn't he flinch when I pull back? That silence, that composure is your loudest statement. But there's another layer beneath that stillness, the shadow. Jungian psychology reminds us that the parts of us that fear rejection, the little boy inside that wants to be chosen, must be faced, not indulged. When you chase, it's not her you're after. It's the relief from the wound of not feeling enough. Heal that, and you stop chasing, you start attracting. In practical terms, it begins with control, not over her, but over your own energy. Delay your responses. Don't always be available. Let her feel the absence. When you remove your attention, she begins to ask herself why she's not receiving what others get easily. The mind fills silence with desire. She won't say it out loud, but scarcity is intoxicating. If she feels she can't fully predict you, if she senses you're devoted to something bigger than her, your purpose, your growth, she'll lean in to understand you. And once she leans in, the dynamic flips from you chasing her to her chasing presence. Now, the Stoic path isn't cold or manipulative. It's about self-respect. Detachment is not indifference, it's power without need. You can still care, but you don't collapse. You can love, but not at the cost of your center. So here's the shift. Stop trying to win her over. Instead, build yourself into a man who doesn't need to win because he's already won within. Number 2, emotional triggers. Stir her heart without saying a word. Why is it that the man who keeps her guessing gets all her attention, while the one who showers her with love gets left on red? The answer is uncomfortable but clear. Emotions, not logic, drive attraction and emotional tension. The right kind is what keeps her up at night, wondering about you. You see, when everything is predictable, the spark dies. A man who's always present, always kind, always available becomes emotionally flat. There's no story, no rise and fall. He's the quiet song in the background she stops hearing, but the man who stirs her, who mixes warmth with distance, calm with surprise, becomes unforgettable. This is the Stoic truth. A calm mind doesn't mean a boring presence, Seneca said. Speak only when it improves upon the silence. Apply this to your emotional presence. Don't always answer right away. Don't always be cheerful. Let silence breathe. Let your moods vary like the sky serene, then stormy, then still again, and she will watch you like weather she can't predict. Jung would call this emotional dance the engagement of her anima, her inner emotional world. When she can't decode you easily, she projects depth into you. That's where the intrigue begins. But this isn't about playing with emotions to hurt her. It's about owning your rhythm and letting her feel your presence as a pulse, not a flat line. Imagine this. One day, you're fully present, engaged, listening deeply. The next, you're busy, distant, focused elsewhere. This isn't withdrawal, it's being a man with a full inner life. She starts to feel that your attention is something she has to earn, and that effort, that chase, amplifies her emotional investment. This is not cruelty, it's contrast. It's the same reason a roller coaster is more exciting than a straight line. Her emotions need movement. And you, if you master your emotional energy, become the one who gives her that experience without chaos or neediness. But this takes restraint. It's easier to give constantly, to flood her with validation. That feels safe, but it's not attractive. Real power lies in controlled expression. Praise her rarely, but sincerely. Be warm, but not always. Create anticipation by letting silence speak. She will feel your absence as strongly as your presence. Remember, it's not manipulation, it's awareness. You are not creating drama, you are creating emotional depth. You're giving her a story to step into, one where your mystery becomes the page she keeps turning. Number 3, high-value detachment. Be the man she has to reach for. There is nothing more quietly magnetic than a man who does not chase, not because he's playing hard to get, but because he's already deeply engaged with something more important, his own life. Detachment, when authentic, does not come from arrogance. It comes from a place of calm certainty that says, I do not beg for love, I become it. In a world where everyone is competing for attention, the man who pulls back from the race stands out. He doesn't chase compliments, he doesn't flood her inbox, he doesn't wait by the phone. His attention is earned, not handed out freely. This is what Stoicism teaches us. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." In love, this means your peace must never be up for negotiation. When a woman senses a man is emotionally self-sufficient, something shifts. She leans in, not because he ignores her, but because he respects his time and doesn't give his energy to uncertainty. Detachment doesn't mean disinterest, it means sovereignty. You're present, engaged, and kind, but you do not orbit anyone's approval. Jung would call this the beginning of individuation, the process where a man reclaims the parts of himself he once gave away to be liked. When you stop needing her to choose you, you begin choosing your path, and that is when she notices you most. Consider this. 2 men pursue a woman. One adjusts his schedule, drops everything, sends flowers weekly. The other enjoys her company but never loses focus on his goals. He engages without clinging. She doesn't have to guess where she stands, but she also doesn't get to dictate his life. The first man gives everything and is forgotten. The second gives meaningfully and becomes unforgettable. This shift requires strength. There will be moments when you want to respond instantly, to give more than you should. But every time you withhold a piece of yourself, you increase your value. You show that you're not afraid to walk away if energy isn't reciprocated. Detachment also protects you from emotional exhaustion. If she starts to drift, you don't panic, you don't chase. You step back and focus on what was always yours, your mission, your peace, your growth. And sometimes, that absence is what pulls her back. Attraction is not about being nice or being cold. It's about being centered. A man who doesn't fear solitude, who sees it as a sanctuary rather than a punishment, is the man who attracts effortlessly. His detachment doesn't repel women, it invites the right ones to step forward. Number 4. Subtle influence, the quiet power that pulls her in. Real power never shouts, it whispers. In the world of attraction, it's not always the loudest or most aggressive man who wins attention. Often, it's the one who moves with intention, speaks with restraint, and lets presence do the heavy lifting. This is the art of subtle influence grounded in psychology, elevated by Stoic poise. Subtle influence begins not with tactics but with energy. Before you say a word, your posture, eyes, and silence already speak volumes. A man who walks into a room without needing to dominate it, but who commands space simply by being grounded, already signals strength. Confidence is felt before it is spoken. Imagine two men in the same room. One laughs loudly, boasts, and constantly tries to prove his worth. The other observes, smiles occasionally, makes eye contact deliberately, and listens more than he speaks. Guess who gets remembered? Subtle influence isn't about manipulation. It's about precision. It's choosing your words carefully, not to impress but to express. It's mirroring her tone softly, making her feel understood without trying too hard. It's touching her hand gently at the right moment, not obsessing over pickup lines. From a Stoic lens, this is the embodiment of equanimity, the ability to remain calm, deliberate, and unaffected by external noise. Seneca once said, "Don't be dragged by your emotions." In practice, this means you don't chase energy. You let your grounded presence invite it. Jung would describe this as integrating your shadow, not suppressing your desires, but mastering how they express themselves. When you own your impulses without being owned by them, your influence becomes natural, not forced. A subtle influencer never overplays his hand. He doesn't rush to reply to a message. He doesn't need to fill every silence. Instead, he lets curiosity bloom. This creates emotional contrast. When you're not overly accessible, each moment with you feels intentional, not habitual. Consider this. On a date, one man rattles off achievements and fills every pause with nervous chatter. The other asks a powerful question, then leans back and listens. He lets his silence do more than his words ever could. That tension, healthy, controlled, builds intrigue. She leaves the conversation wanting more. Subtle influence also means knowing when to withdraw, when to pause a conversation, when to leave the night with a quiet smile instead of begging for affirmation. This restraint is deeply attractive. It signals that you are not moved by her mood, nor swayed by the need to please. You are rooted, and that's rare. Ultimately, subtle influence is about one thing: mastering yourself so deeply that you never have to control anyone else. You don't push, you don't pull, you invite. Number 5. Calm is power. How self-control becomes irresistible. In a world constantly reacting, the man who stays still becomes unforgettable. When others lose themselves in emotion, the man who remains composed radiates something rare: power. Real attraction isn't found in drama, but in emotional discipline, and that discipline begins with self-control. Self-control isn't the absence of feeling, it's the mastery of it. When you can feel anger rising and still respond with grace, when you can feel desire without becoming desperate, you reveal a level of emotional depth that most people never touch. This, more than charm or appearance, pulls a woman closer. Let's paint the scene. A woman cancels plans at the last minute. One man explodes accusations, anxiety, a desperate need for explanation. Another man pauses. He breathes. He replies calmly, "No worries. Let's talk when it works better." He gets on with his evening. Which man leaves a stronger impression? The calm one always wins, not because he's pretending not to care, but because he has trained himself to rise above knee-jerk reactions. His calm isn't apathy, it's leadership. It's strength under control, and it's wildly attractive. This is the Stoic virtue of resilience. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Be like the rock that the waves keep crashing over. It stands, unmoved, and the raging of the sea falls still around it. When you are unshaken by disrespect, by rejection, by confusion, you shift the dynamic. She no longer feels like she can emotionally control you. That's when curiosity turns to respect. Respect turns to desire. Jung would call this shadow mastery the ability to tame the darker parts of yourself without denying them. Anger, jealousy, and insecurity still exist, but you don't let them own your behavior. You see them, accept them, and respond consciously. This is real psychological integration, and it's what separates boys from men. But how do you build this calm? Start small. When you feel triggered, pause. Count to 5 before responding. Ask yourself, am I reacting or choosing over time? This pause becomes your edge. You stop acting out of need and start acting from strength. When you do speak, your words carry more weight. When you don't, your silence becomes sacred. Women are emotionally intuitive. They notice your energy before your words. When your energy is rooted, you become a place of peace in a world full of noise. She doesn't just like you, she wants to be near you, because near you, she feels safe, not controlled, not dominated, but anchored. This doesn't mean you never get emotional. It means you own your emotions so well that she never has to fear being dragged into chaos. This kind of man is rare. That's why she remembers him. When you stay calm, you stop being one of many and start being one of a kind. Number 6. The magnetic power of silence and suspense. There's a reason why the most powerful men in history spoke less but were heard more. In dating and relationships, silence isn't weakness, it's strategy. And when used with confidence, it becomes one of the most magnetic tools a man can possess. Think about this. When was the last time you were drawn to someone who said everything they felt? Immediately. All the time, probably never. Why? Because mystery builds tension, and tension fuels desire. Silence creates space, and space allows her to lean in. Most men ruin attraction not by saying the wrong things, but by saying too much, too soon, too often. They respond instantly to every text. They explain every emotion. They talk endlessly about their intentions. In doing so, they kill the very thing that makes them attractive: suspense. Silence, on the other hand, does something extraordinary. It forces her mind to wonder, to fill in the gaps, to guess, to imagine, and in that imagination, you become larger than life. Picture this. 2 men are texting a woman. One replies within seconds, follows up if she doesn't respond, and writes paragraphs. The other replies when it suits him, is brief but thoughtful, and sometimes just doesn't reply at all. Who do you think she thinks about more? Who do you think she checks her phone for? Exactly. But this isn't about games. It's about energy. The man who's silent isn't playing hard to get. He is hard to get because he's centered. He doesn't need to prove anything. His words are chosen carefully. His time is respected. His presence is felt, even in absence. This is the Stoic concept of presence through restraint. Seneca said, "Silence is a lesson learned through life's many sufferings. It's the ability to sit with discomfort without rushing to fill it." In relationships, this projects strength, confidence, and clarity. Jung would say, this is a mastery of the anima, the feminine energy within the man. When a man is in touch with this energy, he understands the subtle rhythm of connection. Not everything is said, but everything is felt. Silence becomes emotional music. Pauses become punctuation for presence. And the key here isn't just external silence, it's internal stillness. When you are calm on the inside, you don't need noise on the outside. You don't chase validation. You don't react impulsively. You listen, observe, and let others reveal themselves first. In conversation, this means leaving space after she speaks. Let your gaze linger. Let her feel your attention not through words, but through presence. In texting, it means not rushing to fill dead air. In person, it means letting silence speak what words cannot. Because the truth is, the less you say, the more weight your words carry. The more you pause, the more suspense you build, and the more mysterious you remain. The more she leans in. Silence is not the absence of power. it is power. Number 7. Why distance and mystery keep her hooked. What happens when something becomes too predictable? You stop thinking about it, and when someone is completely understood, entirely available and always there, your mind stops chasing them. This is the paradox of attraction. The more she knows, the less she desires. But when you hold something back, when she senses there's more to discover, that's when curiosity turns into obsession. Mystery is not deception, it's restraint. And in romantic dynamics, it's your greatest ally. Too many men confuse honesty with overexposure. They believe sharing everything, past trauma, future plans, daily routines builds connection. It doesn't. It kills suspense. Real connection doesn't need all the data. It needs emotional progression. It needs layers. Imagine this. 2 men meet a woman. One spills everything, his struggles, successes, even childhood stories in the first hour. The other shares just enough to spark her interest, asks questions, listens deeply, and lets her wonder which man is still on her mind the next day. Predictability breeds disinterest, but a man who can balance presence with privacy becomes captivating. He doesn't post his entire life online. He doesn't explain every decision. He doesn't rush to clarify how he feels after every encounter. He trusts her to feel it through his energy. This taps into the Stoic ideal of self-possession. Marcus Aurelius never begged the crowd to understand him. His depth was felt through action, not performance. Stoic men are grounded. They don't over-explain. They live with quiet purpose. And that silence, that emotional privacy, becomes gravity. Jung offers another perspective. He believed that what is not fully revealed becomes part of the archetype of mystery, the shadow. A man who maintains mystery invites projection. She sees in him not just who he is, but who he could be, and in that potential, fascination is born. But mystery must be balanced with distance. You must be willing to walk away, willing to not text back, willing to let silence grow when she pulls away, because space breeds reflection, and in your absence, she remembers your presence. Too many men fill every silence with follow-ups, every unanswered message with more messages, every doubt with clarification. But the high-value man understands. Distance is a mirror. If she values you, she will return to it. If not, your silence reveals her truth. This is not about punishment, it's about preserving polarity. Masculine energy leads through presence, not performance. Feminine energy chases what it cannot fully grasp. When you are clear in your boundaries, silent in your strategy, and selective with your access, you stop being an option and become a puzzle she wants to solve. So hold something back. Let her guess what you're thinking. Let her miss you. And don't be afraid to be the man who disappears, if only to reappear with more strength, more purpose, and more depth. Because in a world obsessed with oversharing, the man who remains a mystery isn't forgotten, he becomes unforgettable. Number 8. Rejection is a mirror. Use it. Don't break it. Rejection is not the enemy. It's a revelation. It doesn't define your worth. It exposes your wounds. And when handled correctly, rejection becomes your most powerful teacher. The man who fears it becomes a slave to validation, but the one who embraces it becomes unbreakable. Most men crumble after rejection. They spiral into self-doubt, obsess over what went wrong, or worse, blame women entirely. But rejection is rarely about failure. It's about alignment. And more often than not, it reflects her needs, not your inadequacy. You're not being left behind. You're being redirected. Think of 2 men again. One gets rejected and begins texting her again and again, apologizing, over-explaining, chasing for closure. The other thanks her, respects her decision, and turns inward not in weakness, but to refine himself. Weeks later, who holds more power? Who radiates dignity? The second man used rejection as fuel. That's Stoicism in action. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "Reject your sense of injury, and the injury itself disappears." In other words, it's not rejection that hurts, it's the meaning you attach to it. When you see it as personal, it destroys you. When you see it as neutral, it strengthens you. Jung would say, this moment activates your shadow, the part of yourself you've buried. Rejection stirs your old wounds. Not being chosen, not being good enough, being invisible. But facing that discomfort head-on leads to individuation, the process of becoming whole. That's your path forward. So what's the Stoic way to handle rejection? First, don't react. Don't send long messages or try to change her mind. Your silence is your dignity. Second, reflect, ask, what did this teach me about myself? My expectations, my emotional discipline. Third, reinvest, not in her, but in your own evolution. Rejection is nature's challenge. Are you going to collapse, or will you build? Here's the paradox. The more gracefully you handle rejection, the more desirable you become. Why? Because emotional resilience is rare. Most men flinch. The man who doesn't, he becomes magnetic. Women notice when a man doesn't beg, when he doesn't turn bitter, when he walks away with composure, focused on his path. That composure echoes. It leaves a mark, and often it pulls her back, not because he chased, but because he didn't. Rejection is a mirror. It reflects where you need to grow. But if you shatter that mirror in anger or shame, you'll miss the lesson. So don't run from it. Stand in front of it. See what's there and become better. Because real strength isn't in avoiding pain, it's in transforming it. Number 9. Strategy over desperation. The ethics of magnetic presence. There's a thin line between manipulation and mastery, and most men, in their hunger to be desired, cross it without knowing. But attraction isn't about games, it's about strategy. And when rooted in Stoic ethics, strategy becomes art, not deceit. Let's be clear, manipulation is exploitative. It's fear-driven. It's the mindset of, if I can just say the right thing or act the right way, I'll control her feelings. But this only leads to shallow connections built on performance, not truth. Strategy, on the other hand, is rooted in awareness. It's about understanding human nature, yours and hers, and aligning your behavior with dignity, intention, and clarity, not forcing, not pretending, but leading. Stoicism teaches, live according to nature. That includes understanding the nature of desire, tension, and emotional dynamics. It's not unethical to pull back when you're overinvested. It's not deceitful to let her wonder. These are not tricks. They are truths about what sustains attraction. Jung would say, this is about integrating the shadow, the parts of yourself that desire control, attention, or validation. When you acknowledge them without letting them rule you, your actions become centered, not reactive. That's the difference between desperation and discernment. Consider two men again. One constantly tries to win her over, texting more, giving more, adjusting himself at every turn. The other stays steady. He's aware of his impact, but doesn't overextend. He knows presence matters more than performance. The first man plays games, the second man plays long. This is the core of strategic presence. It's the moment you choose not to explain yourself after she flakes. It's the space you create when she doesn't reciprocate your energy. It's the silence you hold not as punishment, but as a mirror. When you stop chasing, you force her to confront what she's truly attracted to: strength, clarity, and sovereignty. And let's be honest, strategy is everywhere. Nature itself uses it. Lions don't chase every deer they stalk. Wait, and strike with purpose. Why should attraction be different? But here's where ethics come in. You don't withhold to punish. You don't trigger emotions to gain control. You act with integrity, because attraction built on games collapses, but attraction built on grounded presence that endures. So use strategy, but temper it with virtue. Let her chase, but welcome her genuinely. Pull back, but not to punish, only to balance. Speak less, but when you do, mean every word. When you do this, you shift from being another guy to a force. Women can feel it. They don't just want you, they respect you. And respect is the gateway to lasting desire. Because you weren't trying to win her over. You were busy building something greater, yourself. Sometimes, The most powerful move you can make is to simply stand in your truth, not louder, not more impressive, just real. When you embrace your flaws without apology, when you're secure enough to reveal your wounds without needing to be rescued, that's when connection happens. That's when attraction becomes something deeper than surface games. What you've just learned isn't common knowledge. These are the hidden mechanics of attraction insights most people will never stop long enough to see. But now you know. And with that knowledge comes power. The power to stop playing roles, to stop performing, and to finally show up as the grounded, magnetic version of yourself you were meant to be. So here's the moment of choice. Will you blend into the noise, repeating the same mistakes, chasing the same hollow attention, or will you lead your own story from this moment forward? Because real attraction doesn't come from trying to be perfect. It comes from being whole. Remember, it's not what you say that makes people feel something. It's the energy behind your silence, the presence behind your boundaries, the clarity in how you move. If this spoke to your soul, don't let it end here. Hit subscribe, ring the bell, and if you believe in this mission, join the channel and help us reach those who need it most. And now, I want to hear from you. What's one truth that just clicked for you? Drop it in the comments and let's grow together.